What's going on, guys? So today on this SHOKY third-party Transformers review, we're going to be taking a look at some Seekers. And these are all from NewAge and their legendary Heroes line. And it is, of course, their version of Thundercracker, Starscream, and Skywarp. All, of course, very G1 in their designs. And for each of the boxes, we do have those things. So I'm just going to grab Thundercrackers here, take a look at it close. And so you got a nice little rendering here. And you got the F-15 with their hero, so very similar to the original Diaclone. You got F-15 Eagle, NewAge, Warrior, Leviathan. So they each have their own names. So you got Leviathan, Lucifer, and Samael. Couldn't remember. Okay, so you come down here, and you come around this side. You got them in bot and jet mode. Come to the back, and you got all three. That looks a lot like the G1 intro, where they're all kind of running together. So that's pretty cool. Gotta love that. And, of course, Starscream. Very similar. All that there. I like how it has a faded look to it already. But you got this one. You got him standing there with new Megatron and old school Sonic Wizard there. But that's pretty cool. And with Samael, or Skywarp, much darker. These are all their Schutzstaffel versions for some reason. And you've got him throwing jazz. So they all kind of replicate a scene. And as you can see, these boxes are pretty thick in and of themselves because they actually have a lot of stuff besides the little jets. You can actually see some of the spare hands. In here you would have the actual null rays, and then you would be able to see the base that usually goes underneath. Now, I will pull out all the accessories, at least for one of them, and we'll look at it that way because all three of them come with the exact same accessories. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright, so we'll just do it from the first one with good old Lucifer, or Starscream. And you've got Starscream there. And then, of course, in the upper box, you do get the multitude of hands. I don't really care about those. And then, you know, there's that. So they all come with the same hands that we've seen for quite some time. Ironhide, Ratchet, Megatron. A lot of people come with these hands. But other things that these guys come with specifically, you get some bluish thruster cones, kind of reminiscent of the stuff we're getting from Hasbro right now. And actually it does have a little bit of rotation to it. Those are super pointy, by the way. Like, that kind of hurts to push in there. But you do get that, so you get kind of an afterburner look. So that's pretty neat if you're into such a thing. And there's probably some guns that you could plug those into for effect as well. Speaking of guns, he does have a few. He does come with his null rays, which are fine, but in jet mode he has these more like bomber type weapons, or whatever they technically are, because in jet form they didn't use their null rays, they used these things. So you can use one or the other. They do just plug in to this little hole up under here, so that's up to you. I like to prefer my jets to look like that. The other thing is those bend down way too easy. You also get these beam effect parts, clear at one end, painted pink kind of at the other, and those will fit over the ends of the null rays for shooting purposes. So I believe Megatron came with something almost identical to this. It was just solid purple. So that's that. And of course, the funny part being, you actually get a tiny Megatron. Doesn't have the extension for like the rifle butt, but that's okay. Painted in silver and black, cast in white. Each one of them is cast in the main body color. You can tell by the handle. And it took me the longest time to figure out, because even in the instructions, one of the first things they show is to take off Megatron off of jet mode. And you look at it, there's no peg holes, there's nothing here. I mean, you could do it here, but the instructions showed it sliding forward out from under the nose cone, and this took me so long to figure out. And then I noticed, oh hey, right there is an interesting spot. And so if you just kind of finagle it, I think I had it this way, kind of get that scope right up in there. It was a little harsh, but I got it. Get the scope right there, kind of push that back in. And now you can actually have Starscream flying around with Megatron underneath him. Now, like I said, of course my nose starts running now. All of these come with the exact same things. So that's up to you. In this version, I do have him with his landing gear down. They're pretty simple. That just folds away there. And I've yet to figure out what exactly this little tab is for, or this little hole. And to fold away the back wheels, you got to pull back the feet, which are super tight out of the box. And then you fold those in, and it just fills in that area. Very nice little thing there. Now, the other thing that it does come with is a display base, which is pretty cool. So, I'll pull this back here for a second. And does come with the big clear plastic thing and some nice sparkly purple, actually semi-translucent base with some holes in it. That's pretty cool. Molding is decent. And you also get weird thingies here. Another pivoting point that I still haven't determined exactly what it's for. And then a claw, so if you need to grip something in a different manner entirely. But for the most part, we have a clear plastic prong at the end there, however you want to call it. And there is just a hole right inside there, and you can just plug him in. Oops. Like so. Generally speaking, you don't want it to be facing this way. I've had it set up for a different use. Obviously, you don't want to work against the joints if you can help it. So, flip them around. Something like that is more apt. So that is pretty cool. Like, they're not the tightest joints in the world. In fact, they've worked loose a little bit, but you could always do that. They're not super heavy, but this is really, really cool. Now, there's another thing that this base does that's fantastic. So I'm going to pull this off. Now, you'd say, why would they bother giving you such a big, elaborate base, especially something that's this big and chunky and that's going to take up some space? And the answer comes in these little bits. And by the way, you can store weapons and other things like that who have different size peg holes under here if you want. So, if you take these clear plastic bits and kind of put them right here and right here, and yeah, you probably need to use both. Grab another one. Line up your slots. Tab that together. Oh, and hey, why don't you go ahead and grab the other one while you're at it. And tab those together. You think, okay, that's going to be a weird looking archway. Oh, it's not meant to be an archway, my friend. What it is meant to be is a G1 space bridge. And so basically, if you buy enough of these, I believe you need 10, possibly 11, if you leave one side open as a door, so to speak. You can have a complete space bridge set, like to go all the way around. And all the Seekers come with them. So all the upcoming Seekers will have them. So we've got the Coneheads that are already out in a 3-pack. You do have the Rainmakers that are all coming, all 3 of them. Acid, Nova, and Sunstorm. Then you also have clear, like ghost quote-unquote version of Starscream. There'll be a coordination Starscream, which they show in the instructions. Actually, when they show you how to connect this together, they're also like, hey, here's how you put the coordination gear on Starscream, which you don't get, but, you know. But you get a couple things. So you get one really cool display base for all your jets, and you get an awesome new kind of diorama set with a G1 space bridge, which, mind you, was only used basically in one episode, but you know, it was a main plot point there for a while. And that's just cool. Not to mention, like I said, all these holes in here, you could also put the stand on the inside if you're so inclined. You got to be careful when you plug these things in. You don't want to accidentally snap that off, but I believe you can plug this guy in like here, and you can get them flying about this way. I'll go ahead and take that Megatron off. So that's pretty cool. Now another thing you can do at the base, make sure nothing falls off here, you can sort of combine, if you only want to use a single display base, you can kind of combine them. Not only could you use the extra holes here, but you can use the extra holes that are on the side of the thing itself and get a multi-layered thing. Now, like I said, this one's working a bit loose at this point, but that can always be tightened up, you know. And so we want to push this guy forward a bit. And the other thing being that when they're off to the side, sometimes they want to spin on their own, but it gives you a lot of display options. But the fact that that is super loose right there is somewhat annoying, but that is probably one of the earliest ones. I don't know that that is specifically Starscream's, because at this point they were all out already. So it is what it is. So that's it for accessories and stuff, at least in jet mode. Now I do have one comparison that I want to make, despite the fact that I have a lot of Seekers. So bear with me here for a second. And it is my MP Skywarp that I got from Joey Ganoda. And, you know, there's some paint differences, like the streaks on the thing, but for the most part, it's very, very similar. Now, these things are going for more of a cartoon accuracy. This was not. If I wanted to go that far, I'd probably get, like, the Make Toys version, but they're pretty neat in and of themselves. And by the way, I wanted to point out the fact that it did add the Repro label stickers there. Now, mind you, they're not nearly big enough, as you can see there, but they're the only ones I had. I have ordered more since then, so I'll be putting some on. The only one who doesn't have them at the moment is actually Thundercracker, because he came in after they were gone. But being the only, like, real Seeker MP present representation that I have, and the fact that Skywarp is one of my favorites is pretty cool. Now you do get the great, like, more shiny copper here, kind of faded yellow thing there, but you still get the same silver details, obviously all the same black ones. One thing that these have is this nice point here to the back of the wing, which is more screen accurate, and kind of the slight downturned nose, which you can straighten out a little bit, but like for me, for some reason, makes a difference in the thing. But either way, that's that comparison done, and let's just go ahead and go to transformation. Okay guys, so because all their transformations are the same, I'm just going to show this once, because that only makes sense. So first off, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to flip down the toes like so, and they are super stiff and also die cast, so just be careful. By the way, the whole thrusters and everything are back here are die cast. They're kind of black on Starscream. I didn't really show that off, and they're more of a black chrome on the other guys. But you want to do that number, and then you kind of go up here and pull off the little cannon bomber thingies and come to the wings. Go ahead and untab them. I think we're going to move the camera so slightly here, give myself some room to work, and come down to the legs. You can untab these little thingies here, so your legs are now free, so now they can pop loose, give you some room to work. You can go ahead and split them like that. And there's actually a really neat aspect to the way these legs transform. So this guy does some cool stuff that I haven't seen Seekers do before, and I digs it. So we want to fold that little guy in and go ahead and tilt this up. Now this is on a ball joint that's in a slot, so you can see it right there. And then this whole thing needs to spin 180, which is not the easiest thing to do, but it's not super hard. You just got to get your fingers in the right positions at the right times. And while you're spinning that, kind of keep this oriented to where the tip is facing in, like so. And the difference is now you will have this little area sticking out. Now you want to fold this flat, and then go ahead and take this side here, fold it in, and then fold the tail fin into that gap and close up the back of the leg. There you go. There's one leg done. Let's do that over here, but from a different perspective. Open that up, flip this in, go ahead and fold the little guy down. You can fold the whole thing over if you need to. Now, spin that around, and like I said, like if you can get a good grip on it, then that's actually pretty easy. What you don't want to do is what I just did there, where you get that tucked up inside. So flip this under, flip this down. It'll fill in the gap there. And now this tab that is right here, we'll tug into that, and that solidifies your wings, which is all great. Let's see here. I don't think you really want to move that just yet. Hold on. Okay, so you want to come up here and pop this guy loose. Okay, maybe not. Okay, let's do the arms. Might be easier to get the arms out. Sometimes this is easier said than others, and a spudger generally necessary. So the way the shoulders work here, this is a pin joint that swivels out this way, and then also the arms themselves pivot. So you can see I popped that out and got it out of my way. But you can also pivot this up and around and flip the arm down and then straighten up the shoulder. And whenever we do the Taro videos where we reverse this, you'll see how kind of clever it is. And then you just close the arms up like so. Rotate forward. I believe the hands are not facing. Okay, so you want the elbows facing this way. Then rotate your hands. So get your elbows facing the correct way. Then fix your hands. Okay, so now all of that's out of the way. You can do what I was trying to say before. So the nose cone will fall forward. That you can pull back. That's for clearance sake. Then you want to flip this backwards. Now you've got the section that has the head and the nose cone. You want to flip. It's really funny. So it tells you to do one then the other, but realistically, all you're doing is moving the head. So flip that. That'll rotate the head out. Now you've got all this big nose cone to deal with. And this is one of the cooler parts of this transformation. So, oh wait, no, we don't want to split the nose cone just yet. What am I thinking? Okay, so you could split the nose cone. That doesn't matter. But this part right here is the important part. This is how you make a nose cone disappear. And what you want to do is you want to, and it's tricky to describe, but you want to push the top side in. This is a really strange double hinge and only wants to really function one way. So you want to push that top side in and then flip it up and then flip it again. And I'll see if I can show that now that it's open. So push that in. This will turn. You want to bring it out and then flip it up so that happens. You get your chest. Now with the nose cone, as I was trying to say before, you split the nose cone and turn them like so. And then you want to flip this under like that, more or less. But you actually kind of want to scooch it in so that you can clearance this. And then tuck it up inside. And then there's a couple tabs right back there. You can sort of see them. They will go into the spot back there. That will help solidify the chest. In theory, they tabbed in. Nope, not quite. Hold on. There it goes. All right. Now for the back of the wings, you want to just spread these out so they're clearancing things. Use this double hinge. Now you've got this hole back here. You got that plug right there. Tab them together. Now there's a double hinge thingy back here, as you can see. And you want to drop the wings down. Then flip the red bits over. You can do it either way. But you don't want the wings like up and crazy. And I think that is what we want right there. Oh, last but not least, tilt those forward. And then you have a Seeker Boy all transformed up and looking good. And now that you have him in bot mode, you can go ahead and slap on the null rays onto the pegs that are on the shoulders, or the holes rather, peg holes that are on the shoulders. So that sort of completes the look. Now you can hold them like normal guns, but why would you? That's not what they're meant for. And then, of course, in this mode, he is fantastic looking. You got a head that's painted a nice dark gray, face that has a lighter gray, but with some piercing red eyes, which I dig that. You now get the chest details here, though they did not mold in like the turbofans kind of that would be there normally in the design. So that part sucks. They also could have filled these in with some black parts, but I guess you can't take it all, but nice molded details, very nice paint on all these things, if not cast in very good plastic. He does have some nice little hip skirts here, and his hips do rock forward, which can give a good amount of posing and flexibility. By the way, the head is just on a swivel, possibly a ball joint. It can rotate probably all the way around, but you don't really need to. Ball joint mounted shoulders, along with that hinge there from transformation. He can go up, but not all the way around because there's wings in the back. Now this ball joint here that allows for like transformation and stuff, you can't really use that as an elbow, but you end up getting a side elbow by accident. So kind of rotate it out that way, and you get the single jointed elbow. And of course you do have the wrist that can rotate as well. So he can pose, you don't want to end up in poses you didn't mean to do. I've already mentioned the hips, but he can do a split, so you can do a perfect Jean-Claude. That's nice. Put the hip skirt up. He can kick forward without use of the hip. Good old chorus line. Single jointed knee. Perfectly good for 90 degrees. And then the ankles have the NewAge ankle rockers, which are kind of ridiculous. But he has no heel spurs, so you do need to be careful. I kind of wish these split open a bit. He'll stand, but just keep in mind that you don't have heel spurs. It's just something you should always be aware of. Now, you can always tilt them a little bit further forward onto the toes because they will move. And if you want to emote a little bit with the wings, you can move those as well. But he does look great. So let's compare him real quick to the likes of Soundwave. He looks pretty good. And once again, Sonic Wizard is an older DX9, but still not terrible. I wonder if they'll even bother replacing him, because they keep using him in all promo shots. And here he is with Agamemnon, or good old Megatron, who is definitely taller than him, like he should be. And you can shoot him in the face and tell him that he's let him down for the last time. And then he falls over, which really proves the point. Let's just be honest here. Try to tilt him forward. Like I said, not having heel spurs really does make it a pain in the butt, but that's also a good reason to have had stands. There you go. Kind of get him forward on one leg and posing, sort of. Use those heels. Use the ankle rocker to our advantage. Hopefully it'll stay. Now, by the way, Magic Square has also done their own Seekers. I don't know that they're as good, to be honest. But I did want to bring out one more comparison, and that is Dx9 Grimlock. And I did this for like one real reason, and I think, if I remember correctly, it was Thundercracker that he catches in midair like that. And I've tried to get it to stay, but there's no good way for those teeth to grip onto anything. But he does look cool. You can kind of replicate that look, and then he throws him into his comrades. Like I said, I think it was Thundercracker. He did that too. It might have just been that, but there's my Grimmy as he currently exists. One of these days, I'll get that other DX9 set so I can actually keep this one in a toy bot mode, and then keep a normal one in Dino mode. And of course, just real quick, because you can do it, he can hold the Megatron gun, fine and dandy. So you can pretend that Megatron is actually trying to help him. Like, Megatron was really trusting, like, to give himself to Starscream to be used in that mode where he's probably more vulnerable and could be, like, I don't know, snapped in two or something. Like some kind of wand. But, and if you really feel funny, you could totally give the gun to Megatron. Have Megatron using himself, which is totally a thing you can do. And by the way, of course, and there we go. So it took me a minute to actually get all of them transformed here. And actually, that's the first time since getting it that I actually transformed Thundercracker. Now, mind you, it's no different than the others, but it's there. But what I find funny is the differences in the faces. So Starscream, let's see here. Starscream has kind of a smile or a smirk going on. I'm trying to zoom in if I can. Raise the camera up here. So he's got kind of a smirk. You've got a similar, but I think more of a straight face here for Thundercracker. They're just not going to want to stand. And then you've got a screaming face for Skywarp for some strange reason. I don't know what's going on with that. And then they do paint their faces a light gray, very much like other versions do. So oh, his thing did not get completely tucked away here. Hold on. Okay, so if I can get them to stand, I can get him to stand. Or not. Sometimes you gotta look at the feet and see how flat they are. They might be pushed a little too far, meaning they're pushed past the point of the ankles. But yeah, they should have given them some kind of heel spur. Something. I mean, it seems to be the one big flaw in these. So stand there. Okay, so kind of want to do a bit more of a comparison here, so I'm going to pull the camera back just a little bit. And get Skywarp out here for a second. Damn it. That's just going to keep happening, ain't it? So we've got this Starscream versus the Flame Toys Starscream, who, that hip is done. What is going on there? So we can get some kind of concept. Since he's G1-esque, and of course this is very G1. So you just get a cool shot of two Screamers together, so to speak. Wow, that leg is so wonky. Look at that. It just goes. I'm going to have to dissect that, see what's going on there. And then let's bring in Thundercracker. Very different, but still there. And here they are with the Siege versions. Obviously not the same aesthetic, but, you know, same characters. And then with the Planet X versions of Seekers. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to attempt to transform that masterpiece Skywarp. Just not going to happen. Alright guys, so final thoughts wise, these guys are fantastic. Now, they are about $50 a piece depending on where you get them. They're generally around that cost, maybe slightly more. I got two of them at Big Bad Toy Store and one at TF Source. They both have them. I believe Lucifer is currently out of stock, but coming back. And of course, you get all the repaints and stuff like that coming. And the Coneheads are already out. Whether or not I'll pick those up, I probably will. I don't need Coneheads, but I think in my display, I'm going to have them in jet mode, flying about. I think I'll probably suspend them with some fishing line or something like that. I don't know just yet, but I know I don't need them on the ground fighting. I want them in the air doing their thing. So that'd be a lot of fun. And of course, if I get the Coneheads, I'll do that review as well. At least those come as a 3-pack. Now, as for the other Seekers, such as the Rainmakers and stuff like that, those are a maybe. If I knew that if NewAge was going to be selling the bases alone to complete the space bridge idea, I would just buy those instead of buying more and more Seekers. Although some of them look cool. I don't need to go Starscream by any means. Coronation Starscream, yes. The other few Rainmakers probably, just because they have a cool design. Sunstorm, Acid Storm look pretty cool. Nova Storm's not bad either. It's just whether or not, and for some reason those prices go up with each one. I don't understand why. They're like each like a couple bucks more than the previous. I don't get it. But guys, if you like these things, give me a big ol' thumbs up. Let me know if they fit into your collection. And of course, if you have other versions of these things, let me know in the description or in the comments down below. Oh, I did forget to tick these forward on them. It makes a surprising difference. Also helps lock the shoulders down. I forgot about that. So that's cool. I don't know why he's got a screaming face. I find that really weird. But also, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are new here to the channel. And go check out the NewAge playlist. Hopefully I put that together by now. Pretty sure I did. NewAge/Dx9 playlist. And, of course, go check out the Patreon if you want to help support the channel. Because the other channel technically is not going to be monetized for a very long time, if at all. So any bit of help that you guys could give, go over to the Patreon and you can see stuff behind the scenes. You can see things early, or you can actually vote on some of the stuff that I do. But I will catch you guys on the next review. And remember, as always, to keep on nerding.